This video ends when I roll something other than flat attack on these artifacts. Hey everyone, Shark here, and have you ever felt that RNGesus has turned into RNJudas? Ever get an artifact with crit rate and crit damage substats, but then it rolls nothing but flat defense and HP? Well, I had a string of crazy luck. Not good luck, mind you, but still pretty crazy luck. So let's go on the journey to see how much flat attack I end up getting on these artifacts. Check out this piece, it's pretty crazy. It's a Hydro Damage Goblet with attack percent, flat attack, crit rate, and elemental mastery. I was thinking of using this for Mona, this would be really good for her, except it just keeps rolling into flat attack. It had 60 flat attack at plus 16. I was like, this looks good, I'll just roll into it no matter what. Maybe something good will come out of it. 3 out of the 4 stats are good, so let me keep rolling. And then what happens? The highest flat attack I've ever seen on a single artifact. So I find this other artifact, it's a Gilded Helm with crit damage, crit rate, energy recharge, attack percent, and flat attack. It's only rolled into attack percent and flat attack, and I think surely this must roll into something like crit rate, and that would make it a pretty good piece. If this dodged the flat attack, it could have gone into crit, and that would have been absolutely amazing. It just needed one substat above the flat attack, and it could have been awesome, but it's something else. We have this other goblet that's pretty good. It's an onset Deepwood Memories Dendro Goblet, and onset elemental damage goblets are very, very rare. The substats aren't amazing, but my thought was, well, if this can roll a lot of EM, it could really be worth it because Dendro loves EM. But so far we've got one roll into HP and the rest into attack. And yes, everyone, I know I have a lot of artifacts. I have a problem, yes, But you know, some of these could be pretty good, and I don't want to get rid of them because they might be good on characters that are coming up in the future that may need HP percent, or EM, or defense main stats with lots of crit. So yeah, I know it's copium, but it could happen. I mean, I'm glad I saved a lot of those HP percent emblem pieces for Yolan. So yeah, it's copium, but artifact RNG is terrible, so I'd rather hoard these for potential characters that I maybe need in the future. Alright, okay, maybe I do need an intervention. Anyways, look at some of these artifacts. They could have been so good, but they rolled into just like flat attack, but they had a crit rate, they have crit damage, they have attack percent, they have energy recharge. They have a bunch of really good substats, but they just love that flat attack. Now, as I'm skimming through looking for bad artifacts to throw in for artifact experience, I use all the blues and the purples, but I look for the 5-star artifacts that are bad to use for experience too. My general criteria for keeping a 5-star artifact is if it has 2 good or usable substats on a newer set that I don't have a lot of, like the Deepwood Memories or Gilded Dreams, then I'll keep it. If it has 3 good substats for a set that I already have a lot of, like let's say Blizzard Strayer, then I'll keep that. And by good substats, I'm talking about attack percent, crit rate, crit damage, energy recharge, or elemental mastery. There are of course some niche cases like HP percent for Yolan or defense percent for Noelle, but those are pretty much the main things we look for. So yeah, we all know the artifact system has way too much RNG, and I'm kind of curious, what do you think would be potential solutions to make artifact farming a little bit better? I have 3 main ideas that I think would hopefully make the artifact system a lot better. The first of which is something that they do in Diablo where you could either re-roll the main stat or re-roll one of the substats to something else. That way, if you get one artifact that has everything you need but the main stat is completely wrong, then you can change it and make it useful for whatever character you want it for. And of course, if the other option was to reroll a substat, then you might get an artifact that's really good, except for one flat defense or flat attack or flat HP or something like, I don't need this at all. So then you could reroll that substat into something you do need, like energy recharge, and all of a sudden have a god roll piece. The next idea comes from something I saw from Tower of Fantasy. And this was a really interesting idea because their gear has 4 randomized stats as well, but there's a special item that you can use on a piece of gear to prevent anything rolling into one of the stats on that piece of gear. So for example, if you got 3 good substats and flat HP, you could use this item to prevent any rolls going into flat HP, so there'd still be RNG into the other 3 rolls, but you'd know that it wasn't going into something you really didn't want. And I think that's also a pretty cool system, using a special item to either re-roll the main stat of your artifacts or a subset, or a special item to prevent one of the random items from getting any rolls seems like a pretty nice idea to make the artifacts a little bit better. And my third and final idea to make the artifact system better is to just remove all flat stats except for EM. So you can't get defense percent, flat defense, flat HP, and HP percent on a single artifact. I feel like I've seen way too many of those when farming the Viridescent set. I'm like, well, the main stat's EM, but it's got all these flat stats that I'm never going to use. Oh well, I'll have to use it anyways. That would take out a lot of stats that characters don't really want, because even if a character does want defense or HP or attack, they want the percentages and not the flat stats. Those are my ideas to help manage some of the RNG, but maybe you have better ones. If you do, let me know down below. Or do you think my ideas are alright? Are they a little crazy? Should Hoyoverse hire me to make the game better? Let me know what you think. Are any of these things likely to happen? No, absolutely not. But we can dream, can't we? And I mean, at this point, I'm just grief rolling. I'm trying to roll to get something that is not flat attack. I mean, these artifacts all have 4 substats. I can't just keep getting flat attack, right? Right? No, that can absolutely keep happening because that is the gambler's fallacy, my friends. These rolls are all independent of each other, and just because I got one roll one time does not increase or decrease the chances of any other roll in the future. I mean, honestly, at this point, it's like throwing good Mora after bad, or burning all your Primo Gems just to get something other than that 3-star. And this is of course why Gacha is dangerous. The slot machine effect works on a chemical level on your brain, and you feel like you just gotta keep going a little bit further. And of course we all like it, but it's really important to be aware of this and make sure that it doesn't cause any financial problems for you. After all, these are just artifacts, they're not anything tied to Primo Gems or real currency. So we can have a little bit of fun with this. Just remember everyone, we do this for fun. Don't go beyond your means because it's not worth it. Now here we go, let's take a look at this artifact. This is what I would call the most unfortunate artifact of all of them. This artifact is a Geo Damage Goblet with crit damage, crit rate, attack percent, and flat attack. If the flat attack was energy recharge, this would basically be a god piece for just about any Geo Damage character in the entire game. However, even without that stat, it's still amazing having 3 really good substats. Except it's rolled once into crit damage and the rest into flat attack. It's dodged attack percent and crit rate entirely. But hey, I've already done enough grief rolling, so might as well continue. Hey!